never seen a DA say what somebody ain't, and the investigation has not been closed.
The house is not owned by Katt Williams. It was a rental property. There was another out-of-state company that was leasing the house, and Katt Williams and Reggie Carroll were the two tenants.
Stop everything for a moment, because what you're about to hear is not just another Hollywood scandal. This isn't gossip, rumor, or another story designed to fill headlines for a week and then disappear. What I'm about to share is far deeper. It is disturbing enough to shake the very core of the entertainment industry. Reggie Carroll, a man who spent his life turning comedy into healing, is gone. To his fans, he wasn't just another comedian. He was a voice that gave comfort when people were hurting, a spirit that lifted millions out of their darkest days. On stage, he made laughter feel like medicine. Off stage, he carried heavy pain that he rarely showed. And yet, he always gave hope to others. But Reggie's life came to a violent end. His story did not close with applause or standing ovations, but with gunfire shotgun blasts that silenced him forever. The shocking part, however, is that the real story isn't about the bullets. The real story is about what happened afterward, the cover-up, the silenced voices, and the power structures that moved in the shadows to erase the truth. Tonight, we hear from Corey Holcomb, Reggie's brother, not only in family, but also in comedy. He was his partner, his friend, his blood. With trembling hands and a voice that burns with anger, Corey has broken his silence. He brings forward evidence that points to something far darker than anyone ever expected. According to Corey, Reggie's death was not random. It wasn't emotional, and it wasn't the act of some stranger losing control. It was planned, and the most terrifying part. Corey says one of the biggest names in comedy, Katt Williams, was cleared of suspicion before investigators even began their work. Think about that. When in history has a district attorney rushed to defend someone so quickly, announcing their innocence before the dust even settled? Corey insists this isn't justice, it's corruption at the highest level. He claims police reports were altered, security footage was hidden, and members of Reggie's family were pressured into silence with threats and money meant to shut them up. But the most heartbreaking discovery came from Reggie himself. In a diary he left behind, he wrote words that suggest he already knew his time was running out. Words that make it seem as if he sensed his fate had already been sealed. This is not just a tragedy. This is betrayal. A brother, a friend, a son sacrificed to protect people with power, money, and influence too great to challenge. And now, the truth is finally coming into the light. Corey begins by revealing a detail that many tried to bury. He says he has seen the original police report they unedited, one that the public was never supposed to read. In that version, there is a note that a black SUV was spotted near the scene of the shooting just minutes before the gunfire. The license plate, according to the report, was linked to one of Katt Williams' closest bodyguards. But when the report was released to the public, that crucial line had vanished, erased. That's not an accident, Corey says, his voice shaking. That's a cover-up. The audience listening to him gasps. Viewers online freeze. In that moment, they realize this is no longer comedy. This is life and death. Then Corey drops another bombshell. Video footage. He claims there is a grainy but clear clip from a gas station security camera across the street from the crime scene. In it, the black SUV arrives. The door opens. A tall figure steps out, not Katt Williams himself, but someone who works directly for him. That footage, according to Corey, was never shown in court. It was never admitted as evidence. It wasn't even acknowledged by the district attorney. Why? Corey says it's simple, they needed Katt cleared quickly. Too many powerful people had too much to lose if his name stayed in the spotlight. While Reggie's family mourned, their grief was interrupted by something even darker. Only days after the funeral, the phone rang. A woman's voice, sharp and cold, delivered a chilling warning. Stop asking questions. Stop talking to reporters, or you'll lose more than Reggie. Reggie's sister broke down in tears as she told Corey about the call. Her hands shook as she described how strangers began appearing near their home, watching silently, sending a message without words. Stay silent. Imagine the pain of losing a brother, only to be told that if you speak, you may lose more family members. That is the kind of fear they were forced to live with. And then came the most devastating discovery of all, Reggie's own words. In one of his final diary entries, he wrote a sentence that still haunts Corey to this day. If anything happens to me, just know it came from inside. Those words don't sound like paranoia. They sound like certainty. They sound like a man who knew his end was coming and that the threat wasn't from strangers, but from people he already knew. Despite these disturbing details, the district attorney appeared at a press conference and did something shocking. Without a full investigation, without a trial, and without any cross-examination of evidence, he declared Katt Williams innocent. Corey slammed his hand on the table as he asked, the question on everyone's mind: when have you ever seen a DA do that? When has anyone been cleared publicly before the evidence was even reviewed? This isn't justice. This is theater. According to Corey, leaked emails from inside the DA's office reveal the truth. One allegedly read, "Orders came from the top. Clear Katt fast. Too many names will burn if he goes down." If that is true, then Reggie's death wasn't just murder. It was a sacrifice, a life erased to protect Hollywood's most powerful players. Corey didn't stop there. He exposed another painful reality. Some comedy clubs are now cashing in on Reggie's death. They host tribute shows in his name, selling tickets and profiting from his legacy. Yet not a single dime goes to his grieving family. They're vultures, Corey said, his voice breaking. They killed him twice, once with bullets, and once with lies. The room fell silent. There was no laughter, no applause, just shock, because at that moment, everyone realized this wasn't entertainment anymore. This was exposure. Corey then revealed what Reggie himself had feared. In his last weeks, Reggie told close friends he felt followed. He said he was being pressured to sign contracts that would tie him to powerful figures in the industry, contracts he refused to sign. One friend remembered him whispering, "If I don't play their game, they'll make sure I never play again." And then came the most chilling piece of evidence. Reggie's last text message to a confidant? Just 4 words. "They already chose me." The audience gasped. Viewers online erupted with questions. Who chose him? Why? Corey answered with a heavy sigh, because he became disposable. He knew too much. He refused to play along. And in this world, when you refuse, you get erased. Corey also described what Reggie's mother told him privately. Just days after her son's death, a man in a suit approached her outside the hospital. He didn't offer condolences. He didn't give his name. He simply said, "Take the settlement. Stop asking questions. Walk away." She broke down in Corey's arms, whispering through tears, "They want me to sell my son's soul." Meanwhile, the media quickly shifted the narrative. Reggie's name faded from the headlines almost overnight. Corey asked everyone to notice how fast it happened. That wasn't coincidence. That was controlled. As the show drew to a close, Corey leaned forward. His voice was raw, his eyes filled with pain. "This isn't just about Reggie," he said. "This is about power. This is about Hollywood. This is about a system that decides who lives, who dies, and who gets protected." He then revealed a stack of documents, emails stamped with official seals. Reading them aloud, Corey exposed a disturbing truth. From the very beginning, they were orders to cover up the case, erase suspects, and control the narrative. "Do you understand what this means?" Corey asked. They knew from day one. And instead of investigating, they protected him. The audience was frozen. The tension in the room was electric. For the viewers at home, it felt like history unfolding in real time. Reggie Carroll's story is not just one of talent and tragedy. It is a story of betrayal at the highest levels of power. He wasn't simply caught in the crossfire of violence. He was targeted, silenced, erased. As the screen faded to black, Corey's final words echoed like thunder. If they can do this to Reggie, they can do it to anybody. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them bury the truth. Reggie's blood is on more hands than you know. And with that, the world was left in silence, grieving not only the loss of a man who gave laughter, but also the corruption that turned his death into something far darker. Corey stands in front of the camera, his voice shaking but firm. Then, he drops a sentence that burns through the silence like fire. They didn't just kill Reggie, he says. They turned his death into a performance. They used it as a distraction while they cleared their golden boy. The room freezes, his words land like a hammer. It wasn't only murder, it was betrayal on a level so deep it made the air feel heavy. A friend dead, a family terrified, a system bent and twisted, and a comedian, Katt Williams, walking free, while questions pile up higher than any courtroom defense could ever hide. But Corey doesn't stop there. He looks straight into the lens and promises this fight is not over. He says he has more recordings, documents, voices from inside the machine, people ready to talk. Then his warning cuts deeper than anything before. If I disappear, if my voice goes silent, understand this, it wasn't an accident. The words make the whole room tremble. Everyone watching realizes it's not just about Reggie anymore. It's about Corey himself risking everything to drag the truth into the light. The live feed flickers and cuts to black for a few seconds. When it comes back, Corey sits in silence, tears streak down his face. He whispers, "They killed him twice," his voice cracks. "And now they're coming for anyone who dares to say his name." What began as a tragedy is now something bigger, darker, and more dangerous. It isn't just about a shooting in Mississippi. It's about corruption that runs through Hollywood, the police, and the courts. It's about money that buys silence, power that rewrites reports, and fear that keeps families locked in grief. At the center of all this sits a name, a man who should have been questioned, but instead walked away smiling, shielded, and protected. Corey's message is sharp and clear. This is not justice. This is a tragedy dressed up as closure, staged for the cameras, and sold to the public as truth. But cracks are forming. Lies are unraveling. The cover-up is falling apart, and the world is asking the question they never wanted spoken. If Katt Williams was cleared too quickly, what are they hiding? The moment Corey Holcomb's words hit the internet, the world caught fire. Social media exploded. Hashtags spread like wildfire. Hashtag justice for Reggie. Hashtag Corey exposes. Hashtag Katt cleared too soon. What had started as whispers turned into a roar. Millions demanded answers. For the first time, the walls built to protect the powerful began to crack. Within hours, major news outlets picked up the story. Some tried to water it down, calling it speculation, unverified claims, internet hysteria, but the footage of Corey's trembling hands, his tears, his rage, it was too raw, too real. The people weren't buying the corporate spin anymore. And then came the leak no one could ignore. A video appeared online, first in a hidden forum, then copied across every platform within minutes. The grainy footage showed a closed-door meeting between a senior law official and a Hollywood executives. The audio was muffled, but the words were clear enough. One man said, "If Katt goes down, so do we, clear him. Make the rest disappear." The internet erupted. This wasn't rumor anymore. It was confession. Corey returned to his platform, his voice breaking, but his resolve stronger than ever. "You hear that?" he said. "That's the sound of the devil dealing in daylight." They cleared Katt to protect their own dirty hands. And Reggie, he was the cost. His words hit like lightning, and the storm spread. For the first time, Reggie's family, long silenced by threats, stepped forward. His sister, her voice trembling but fierce, faced the cameras. They tried to buy us. They tried to scare us. But no mother, no sister, no brother should ever have to bury someone they love. And then watch as killers walk free. Corey is telling the truth. My brother's blood cries out for justice. Her words broke hearts across the globe. People wept. Messages poured in. Celebrities shared her statement, some carefully, others with defiance. The silence was shattered, but the more the truth surfaced, the more dangerous it became. Corey admitted he had been threatened, strange calls in the night, cars idling outside his house, a figure trailing him after his shows. Looking into the camera, he said, "If I vanish, if they silence me, remember this is bigger than one man. They don't want truth. They want obedience." Then he dropped his most shocking revelation, Reggie's missing phone. The police had long declared it lost after the shooting, but Corey said it had resurfaced handed to him by a terrified insider. On it were Reggie's own voice notes, and when Corey played them, the world froze. Reggie's voice, shaky but unmistakable, spoke of meetings, threats, and betrayals. His words carried fear. They told me I had two choices: sign or die. I think they mean it. The internet shook. It was no longer theory, it was Reggie himself, speaking from beyond the grave. The fallout was nuclear. Protesters gathered outside the district attorney's office. Petitions for federal investigation gained millions of signatures overnight. Fans demanded Katt Williams be questioned again. And through all the chaos, one image stood out: Corey holding Reggie's diary. His hands shook as he read aloud, "If I don't make it, remember me not as a victim, but as a man who tried to stand tall when the wolves closed in." Corey's voice cracked. The studio went silent. Millions watching from home felt their hearts shattered. This was no longer entertainment. It wasn't just another internet story. This was tragedy unfolding in real time. A man murdered, a system corrupted, a legacy of laughter turned into tears. But tragedy soon turned into defiance. Corey vowed he would not stop, no matter the threats, no matter the cost. He promised to bring every hidden piece of evidence into the light. "You can silence a man," he thundered, "but you can't silence the truth." And Reggie's truth is about to set this whole rotten system on fire. The final moments of his broadcast burned into memory. Corey leaned close to the camera, eyes blazing, voice raw. "They killed him twice," he whispered. "But this time, they won't bury him. The truth will bury them." The screen cut to black. The silence that followed was heavier than words. And the world understood nothing would ever be the same. The question was no longer, what happened? To Reggie Carroll, the real question was, how many more lives will be sacrificed before the truth finally comes crashing down? Because this wasn't just Reggie's story. It was the story of every voice that had been silenced, every dream stolen, every family broken to protect the powerful. They thought money could buy silence. They thought threats could erase truth. They thought Reggie could be buried in the ground, and his story buried with him. But they were wrong. Corey Holcomb tore the mask off. Now the world had seen what lurks beneath corruption, betrayal, and a system that shields killers while families drown in grief. And now the burden falls on us. If you're watching this, you're not just an audience, you're a witness. Reggie's diary, his recordings, his final words, all of them scream for justice. If we turn away now, we become part of the silence that killed him. So don't just watch. Don't just scroll. Share the story until it's too big to be ignored. Speak out. Demand answers. Stand with Corey. Stand with Reggie's family. Because if we don't, the same machine that devoured him will devour others. Reggie's blood is not only on the hands of his killers, it's on the hands of anyone who stays silent. Don't let his name fade. Don't let his truth die. This fight is not over. It's only the beginning.